Hi, friends. Welcome to Uprise Astrology Podcast. If you are here for the very first time, welcome. This is a channel dedicated to taking a look at forecasts and upcoming energies. Today's video is going to be focusing on the moon cycle that we began on November 4th in the sign of Scorpio, a new moon, beautiful one at 12 degrees. In Scorpio, like I said, that is going to be influencing a particular part of our chart. And for you, Leo, we're going to be unpacking where exactly the energies are going to be playing out for you. Now, I am going to be covering everything that is going to happen from November 4th until the 19th, right? A day before the full moon unfolds. And the dates that I'm giving you, they are accurate for where I'm at, Eastern Standard Time. So the full moon is going to happen around the 20th, and everything that happens before, what is really important for us to pay attention to during the cycle. That's what we're going to take a look at for you. You can listen to your sun sign as a Leo, but the rising sign is going to be the most accurate. That's going to give you the most sort of accurate prediction and forecast as to where it's going to align within your own chart. So if you know your rising sign is Leo, then this is going to be a video that is going to give you a bit more of an accurate forecast. So what we're going to do is we're going to dive into the chart where the energies are playing out for you, and then we're going to take a look at a brief tarot reading as well. I love coupling these two because it just gives a little bit more insight as to what might be unfolding during this time as well. So we're going to dive into that as well. So let's pull up the chart for all of my Leo rising friends. So we began this new moon in the sign of Scorpio. And for you guys, this has been playing out in your fourth house. Okay. What is the fourth house? Let's cover that real quick. The fourth house is a house that really focuses on emotional needs. And when we're talking about emotional needs, it is pretty much a wide spectrum of things that could be under review here from the moment that you remember about your upbringing all the way until now. The fourth house of the chart, it really influences the rest of the chart into how your emotional experiences are like and where you're sourcing it from. So for you guys, there is a new moon pattern here that starts to unfold, where a lot of what is going to be unfolding for you guys is that there's a story that's beginning to change here. This particular new moon is going to be at 12 degrees. And I believe that what you might be experiencing is that you're going to start to change your belief system in regards to what emotional comfort looks like. You're going to expand the boundary in this area. And part of you is also maybe going to be in a place where you're going to review a lot about the past and your upbringing, family tradition, if there was such thing, right? For you, where it was a lot of family tradition, or you might be implementing new family tradition into your life. So a lot of this is going to be an energy that I believe for you all throughout the month is going to require for you to stay really in the now, because Scorpio is a very highly intense energy. It's fixed water. We are going to be really fixating on a particular emotion or a set of emotions that require for us to just put a lot of our energy into the moment. And in particular, because this new moon is going to be at 12 degrees, the kind of pulse that this is going to give for a lot of you guys is going to be in regards to really closing up the past in regards to family matters and moving on in a new direction. So the story is starting to unfold in a new direction. What's really interesting about this new moon is that it is going to be in an opposition to Uranus. And that for you is going to be in the 10th house. Uranus in the 10th house, that's going to be themes of unpredictable behavior when it comes to career, when it comes to your legacy, when it comes to deliberate action that you're taking. Now, it's also going to be maybe a part of your life where you might be receiving a wake-up call. Something needs to be done differently in your career because your emotional levels are changing in the fourth house and your emotional needs are changing. Maybe more boundaries that you're putting into place, maybe traditions that you're changing. And so as a result of it now, you are also taking a look at your career here with Uranus, that influence. It says, hey, we also have to pay attention to what is happening in your career. And you have to pay attention to it right now, not sometime in the future. It has to be during the next 30 days. And there is growth that is required. There is maybe a crossing of lines that are happening between the 4th and the 10th house. So it could be that in the 4th house, you're required all of your attention there, and something at work happens where the boundaries gets sort of the lines get crossed. And now you have to maybe put something else here into place that it requires for you to build a stronger foundation when it comes to emotional needs. Okay. Those are the types of themes you could be taking a look at between the 10th and the 4th house. Ultimately, whatever is going to unfold between the 10th and the 4th house themes that we just mentioned, you are beginning a completely new storyline. That is what the forecast is for me, for you here, that you are going to have a completely new moment when it comes to your career, and then the way in which you're going to relate to comfort or needs or emotional needs in particular. Okay. That's what we're taking a look at overall. All throughout the month, you're going to be working on that. Now let's move on to the next portion of what's really important. That date is November 10th. November 10th, Mercury and Mars are going to be conjunct at 7 degrees, and they're going to form a square to Saturn at 7 degrees. Let's take a look at where this is going to be unfolding for you in your chart. When we go forward to November 10th, we see that there is going to be a focus from the 4th house. So still the 4th house themes, that's where the sun is going to be especially, but Mercury and Mars are going to be here as well with the sun. From the 4th house, there is a square that's happening to the 7th house, and that is where Saturn is at. So let's take a look at what the 7th house is all about. The 7th house is all of your bonds to other people, one-on-one relationships that create somehow an agreement or a bond. It could be in business. It could be in a marriage partnership. It doesn't have to be something contractual. It can also be just a verbal contract in some kind of way, or some unspoken commitment between you and another person, but it's a bond that you have to that person. So that's the 7th house. There is Saturn here. I don't mind Saturn in the 7th house. I feel like it can bring a tremendous amount of reorganization in the 7th house, meaning it makes you stronger because you have to master sort of this aspect and the way in which you're defining your bond and agreement to other people. So with a square, what you're taking a look at is that as you unfold the themes of your emotional comforts, you're taking a look at something that disrupts this in the way that you now are having to really directly confront a relationship matter that needs your attention. It cannot be avoided anymore. That's what the square to Saturn here is going to bring. A situation maybe between family members, a situation even where there's more than just one person involved. Like let's say you were at a family dinner and you are having a conversation and something comes up where now the feeling of this moment comes up where you can't avoid it. You have to speak. So you have to be mindful here with this transit that whatever you speak is going to cause a long-lasting sort of impact, because at 7 degrees, we're really speaking from our intuition. It's something that comes from our deep, deep truth that maybe sometimes we don't even realize what it is until the moment when it happens, right? So for you, you're working out this aspect between family, your emotional needs, and then also your bonds to other people. It's a great time to release any kind of pent-up emotion. You might want to cry. You might want to, just let out your emotions in some kind of a way and communicate even that you have been holding something in for so long that it has built up. And this is a time to release that aspect. But try to do it in a way where you're really listening to where you're coming from and what's really most important to you. Because again, with Scorpio, we're looking at an energy that's penetrating. So the wrong thing can be taken the wrong way for a really long time. So you want to be mindful of that. The next thing I want to take a look at for you is when we move forward to the 12th. When we move forward to the 12th of November, this is when we are going to see a very great aspect here where the sun in Scorpio is going to be still in the fourth house, now illuminating the future. Okay. It is at 20 degrees and it's going to form a trine to Neptune in your eighth house. There is a very deeply renewing aspect when it comes to how you share yourself, either intimately or via commitments of some sort, where there is a shared resource or some kind of shared commitment with another person. There's a huge breakthrough and a renewed sense of feeling that comes up here. This trine is ultimately an amazing validation and a self-discovery, basically, by realizing that you're overcoming aspects of your life that felt like you were not going to overcome them, or it felt like for a really long time, it was always going to be this kind of relationship or this kind of family dynamic that would never change. And so on this day, I believe my prediction and forecast is that you guys are going to have the first signs and validations that there's something really changing here when it comes to you finding yourself being more trusting and more playful with your life and the people that are the closest to you, or the commitments that you have towards the things in your life. Can you have more of a side of you that, lets down your guards and allows for yourself to be more playful or be more joyful or bring an emotion in that feels a lot more comfortable or defines you in a better way? So you're going into that direction here. And I think that is going to be the potential, a deep, renewed sense of devotion towards a way in which you're going to share yourself moving forward in an intimate way, or in a way where you're going to redefine family life and then also the shared resources as a result. So that's what I'm seeing here between November 4th and 19th. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to move forward to your guys' card reading. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pull up the next screen so that we can start to take a look at your guys' tarot. All right. So we're going to shuffle these cards a little bit, and then we're going to start to take a look at what is going to be coming up for you guys. What are some of the messages we need to know? So this reading is going to be for the next 2 weeks. Okay. So I'm going to shuffle the cards, and I'm going to start to just pick from the top here. So the very first card that we have is the Page of Pentacles. The Page of Pentacles here is a really interesting card as a starting point, because again, this is sort of the theme, the overall theme here throughout this next 2 weeks is going to be that you guys are going to be in this big learning stage. And this big learning stage has a lot to do with the way in which you are viewing trust towards the future. So it's almost like you are in between spaces, or you're having to embrace a part of your life where it feels like you're in between sort of a transitional period. I see that a lot of you are either moving, you're either reorganizing finances, or you're reorganizing how you're doing work. And so here with the Page of Pentacles, the theme all throughout the month is going to be you are in transition. Okay. So stay open is the biggest aspect here. The next card that is basically defining the emotional currency is the Six of Swords. The Six of Swords is going to bring you clarity over the next 2 weeks. That's the inside, that you're going to have clarity and calmer waters to start to move forward, literally in your mind, because the swords have to do with the mind sort of energy. Now, here with the Six of Swords, we're also seeing that there is a part of you that feels like you have finally let go of a struggle in your mind in regards to a particular pursuit or a desire in something that feels very purposeful to you. So it could be your career, it could be something that you define as legacy. You're going to start to feel like that you're a lot more balanced and you're letting go of an old goal in regards to that, and you're moving on from that. The emotional currency of that is that you're going to feel a lot more free to start to be in action. Okay, that's the thing that I'm seeing here for you. The next card we see is, what should you be aiming for? Restore what there is to restore and leave the rest. In what regards, right? In regards to any kind of conflicts between you and other people, in regards to competition, in regards to experiences that the world outside of you is giving you, and any kind of expectations that are falling under these kinds of themes that I just said. So some of the energy that you're taking a look at here with the 5 of Pentacles is, how can you really just dive into what needs to be restored and what's really important to you, and then move on from the rest? Because at this time, you're only going to be able to recover X amount, and then you're going to have to move on, because some people might just not be ready to be on the same page with you, and the relationship might just be done, right? So if you have that feeling here, what to aim for right now is to just allow for yourself to learn and to grow from the experiences that you've made, because it's time to sort of step back from any kind of drama and to cleanse your space. That's as simple as that. That's what I'm seeing here. The next card that we see is the 10 of Pentacles. These are the energies that most support you. That's the position of this card. The 10 of Pentacles is basically a time where I think that you are going to step out and start to review the bigger picture, because up until now, you may have been dealing with a lot of weird relationship dynamics and you may have not had the time. But now this Scorpio season is really giving you step away, step out of the certain scenarios and take a look at the bigger picture. And this has to also do with your finances, okay? You might have to sort of set a new goal in regards to what keeps you stable, what keeps you sort of motivated even, because there's accomplishments attached to this the 10 of diamonds. And it could be also that you're going to be working either on a product or on a project that is big and it's very meaningful to you. So that's the other thing that we're seeing here. Now, the next card is going to represent the challenge. This challenge has to do with, or some kind of, obstacles or some kind of growth aspect you have to work on. This next card has a lot to do with you just feeling like that you may not get what it is that you gave out. A part of you feels that, I feel like you're going to have this experience where you may have to be very mindful of who you're being generous with. I mean, it has to be said, right? It's Scorpio season, so it's going to bring you sort of the truth of some relationship dynamics. You want to pay attention to who you're being generous with and what it is that you're sharing, because there could be this potential here that something is going to throw you off because the other person is not going to be truthful, or you're over giving and you're depleting yourself as a result of it. So that's the growth aspect right here, is to bring that balance back. Maybe even you're lending money to someone. That's another thing. Maybe there is sort of a stop that needs to happen in this area and a boundary that has to be put into place. And I think that might be hard for you to say no and help. That might be another thing that comes up here. So the next card we see is a card that basically says, what are the emotional currencies in your relationship themes? And what we're seeing here, which is so interesting, is this is the second time I'm pulling this card for, I think I pulled it for another zodiac sign in the same position. 4 of Swords. This month is going to reveal a lot. It's going to reveal a lot to you in regards to understanding any kind of heartbreak you experienced, why you experienced it, how to heal from this, how to heal aspects of it, and make peace with what happened. Okay. That's what the energy here, I feel like, is going to be all about in relationships. You have to give some space for certain things to renew. So try not to push maybe yourself or the other person in any relationship dynamic to try to come to terms with how to move forward. The more space you give, after the full moon, you're going to realize what you need to do in order to move on. Okay. That's what we're seeing here. The last card, this card is all about what to really focus on this month. Like, what are some of the things to focus on, especially over the next 2 weeks? We see the Ace of Cups. The Ace of Cups is a card that has a lot to do, obviously, with new beginnings. It's an ace. But in particular here, I think for a lot of you, this has to do with love, reigniting love for your life. If there is something that you're really drawn towards, I would say that this is a time to flow towards it. This is a time to walk towards it. This is a time to, fill your cup back up and allow for yourself to learn what there is to learn in regards to the relationship dynamics, in regards to finances, because you're working out a lot of financial aspects this month. You are stepping away from any kind of drama, or it could be that maybe it wasn't even finances, but people sort of in relationship dynamics for the past many years have sort of taken from you some aspect, or it feels like they've taken an aspect of you that you just freely gave, but there is more value and more boundary that has to be protected around that. So the Ace of Cups basically says, this is a time for emotional fulfillment on a whole new level, and it's a new beginning. And what does that actually look like for you? Well, it's all of the things that you love now, right? And some of those things have changed. Some of those things might be just a fresh energy or a new kind of love that's entering your life because you said so, right? And many of this aspect or many of these energies are going to start to unfold after the 12th of November. So I feel like you can expect that during this time. The last thing I want to do for you, Leo, is to clarify this Six of Pentacles right over here. So I'm going to use a different deck from a playing deck. The system I'm using is the Cards of Truth. And I want to clarify that Six of Pentacles for you. What is this all about? Six of Hearts. What makes sense in your heart? That's huge. If you feel confused about generosity, over giving, being too generous, being still in this place where you're afraid to cut something out due to the reaction of another person, Six of Hearts basically says the pathway out of that is to examine what's important for you to make you move on and why that is important. And the answers are going to be right there for you. So that's a wrap on today's video. Thank you so much for all of my Leo friends for being here, for watching. If you've liked this, give it a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet. That helps me out, helps you out. We stay connected. And I want to know how this month is unfolding for you guys. So leave a comment below, and I will see you guys in the next episode. Bye.